Hey guys, Dora here and welcome to part 2. The first book I have here is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I hauled this book along with One Dark Throne, so it's the same video. I'll put it up here. I've heard mixed reviews about this book, mostly on the Owl Crate Society page. Some of them like it, some of them don't. It's about fae and drawings and paintings. I was really shocked at how short the book is, mostly because I thought it was bigger than this. I don't know why. I think it's like almost 300 pages. Very short book, one that I hopefully will get to it soon, especially since it's really short. The next book I have here is The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and once again, it's a signed copy. I believe it's very diverse. I believe it has multiple point of views. Like I said, I can't wait to read it because that's like the theme going on here. These next two books are part of a series that I believe has already ended. The last book came out this year. I absolutely adored the first book, and I got these two books because I really wanted to continue. And the books I'm talking about are Rebel Springs and Gathering Darkness by Megan Rhodes. This was actually the first high fantasy novels that I actually read and totally enjoyed. And nowadays it's really hard to find series that are more than 3 or 4 books long. Like I said, totally awesome, and I can't wait to continue. The next book I have here is actually a book I bought because I had gotten a chapter sampler from Barnes & Noble, and I was like, this sounds like a really good concept, and that is And I Darkened by Kirsten White. The first few chapters of this book hooked me so good, and once it was published, I bought it. It's a gender bend story about, I think, the Great Vladimir. I don't know if I'm getting it right. If not, I'll put the correct term. But yeah, like, I just can't wait to get to this book because I remember reading the first 3 chapters of this book and being like, man, this is gonna be an amazing story. I'm saddened that I bought it and I was planning on reading it next, and it just never happened. This next book I got here is a book that came in the October Owl Crate in 2016. It was the first Owl Crate box I got because it was a birthday present to myself. And the book I'm talking about is Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. This is a very short book as well, and I believe it's a retelling of the Russian story Vasilisa. And I think she was like this doll that made magical wishes or something like that. Either way, I did start reading it once I got it, but I didn't get that far before I lost interest. And I will be getting it a second chance after going through all my unread books. I've kind of have a Halloween themed TBR going on. This next book I got here is Gemini by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I have read Illuminae, the first one, and especially in audiobook form because the audiobook form of Illuminae was absolutely gorgeous. I would be listening to the audiobook with the book propped open because I love the way it's told. Illuminae is told in kind of case studies and police forms and stuff like that. This is actually the only sci-fi book that really got my attention, and I really am excited to read it, and I believe the last book comes out this year. But yeah, this book is gorgeous, and I love how the hardcover, look at that. That is just so beautiful and so sexy. I love the highlighters. I love everything. So yeah, like I said, I can't wait to continue on. And this next book is also kind of like a Halloween read that I never got to, and that is Cuckoo Song by Frances Hardinge. Look at that cover. It does that not look creepy? I remember having this on my bookshelf, and since I didn't have bookshelf space, it was like on the edge like this, and I remember I would like wake up in the middle of the night and I'd just see those huge eyes reflecting off the darkness, and I'd be like, I can't deal with this. I would have to put the book like this just so I wouldn't have to see that. Freaky, man. Once again, I have a Halloween TBR building up, and that was unintentional. I did not mean for it to happen that way, but now that it has happened, I can't wait for Halloween now. The next book I have here is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I bought this because I had read The Darkest Minds, and I absolutely loved The Darkest Minds trilogy. And I believe this is actually a duology. I have not bought the last book in the duology because I haven't even read this, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about it as well. People have been saying that it wasn't that great. But the thing that really caught my attention about this book was the time travel. I absolutely love time travel books. I actually will be getting to this year because one of the challenges for the Pop Sugar Challenge for 2018 is to read a book that has to do with time travel. The next book I have here is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I have read Anna and the French Kiss, but I have not read Lola and the Boy Next Door, and I believe that it's not a trilogy. I believe they're companion novels, but I've heard that if I read this, I will be spoiled for some of the things that happen in Lola and the Boy Next Door. But as how things are going, I don't think I will be buying Lola and the Boy Next Door anytime soon. The next book I have here is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This book is also a book that I will be getting to this year, mostly because it has to deal with twins, and one of the Pop Sugar Challenge is to read a book about twins, and Lord behold, I already have a book about twins. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I believe it has to do with Jude and her twin brother Noah, and they were really close, but when they got to the age of 13, I believe Noah kind of isolated himself and he drew himself away from his twin. These next three books I actually bought off of Book Outlet, and that is Ever True, Everbound, and Everneath by Brody Ashton. I was on the fence about unhauling these books, and I wanted to unhaul them and include them in the unhaul video that I did a month ago, but then I was like, I kind of want to read these books. I know I will read these books. I most likely will get to it this year, and if I don't get to it this year, I'm going to unhaul them. The next book I have here is Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini, and this was also one of the first books I got off of Book Outlet, and I got it because it sounded like a really good storyline. It has to do with witches in Salem, I believe. This book is about a girl named Lily, and she ends up being in a Salem that's not really her Salem, like her town of Salem. The next book I have here is A Study in Scarlet Women by Sherry Thomas. I believe this is kind of like a gender bend into the Sherlock Holmes, at least that's what I've heard. I won this book via a Goodreads giveaway. I'm not very much of a Sherlock Holmes kind of fan, but I feel like if I read this, maybe I'll get interested in Sherlock Holmes. This next book is a book that I have been trying to get through forever because I've heard nothing but great things about it, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. As you can see, I still have my bookmark and I still have some stickies because I have been reading it. The beginning is just a little too confusing for me. I have no idea what is going on, and I feel like I just have to be in the right mindset and in the right mood to be able to get through this book. This next book I actually won as well in a Goodreads giveaway, and that is Runebinder by Alex Collar. And since it is in ARC, I don't know if it will be the same as the finished copy. It is very diverse, and the thing that intrigued me about this book and the reason why I applied, I will say, for this Goodreads giveaway is because the main character is male and his love interest is also male, and there's not a lot of same-sex romance going on in a novel, so that's what really intrigued me, and that's why I wanted to get it. The next book I have here is The Glass Spare by Lauren DiStefano. This was in an Owl Crate box. I believe it was in the November box. This book is about a kingdom where our main character isn't even in line to be the ruler. I think she has two older brothers who are in line, but she isn't. And then she finds out that she has this ability where she can touch people and they die. Hopefully it's not too much like Shatter Me that I'll be just put off of it, but I'm willing to give it the chance. The next book I have here is Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie McLemore. This was the October box book, and once again, this is the exclusive Owl Crate box cover. I have no idea what this book is about. I guess it has to do with flowers, maybe? Or a world where flowers have taken over. I don't know. The next book I have here is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Look at this hunk of book. I have not yet read this book, which in turn brings me to my next unread TBR book, and that is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. And since I am doing the read-along for these books, I will be checking them off my list pretty soon. The next book I have here is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've heard nothing but great things about this book. Once again, my sister-in-law has read it. She said it's nothing but amazing, so I will be getting into it, especially since it's in a time that I absolutely love to read, like World War II. These next two books I will most definitely get through this year, and that is The Savage Song and Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. This book caught my attention so much, like the first 2 pages, they just sucked me in, and I can't wait to continue on with these books. The next book I have here is The Shadowhunters Codex by Joshua Lewis and Cassandra Clare. I loved it because look, oh, it's so velvety smooth. I love it. The next book I have here is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and this book was actually in the January box. Once again, this is the I Will Create exclusive cover. I'll put the original up there. I've heard mixed reviews about this. I've heard that the romance in the novel was kind of like an abusive relationship of some sorts, so people have been getting mad at that angle. The next book I have here is Everlist by Sarah Holland. What I've heard about this book is that time is actually used like currency. These next two books I have here are Tower of Dawn and The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I'm absolutely adoring the read-along that Rebecca from Becca and the Books is hosting. She is amazing. I love talking to all of you guys on Messenger and our little conversations. It's really fun getting to know you guys. I can't wait to continue reading it, mostly because these are the only two books in the Throne of Glass series that I have not read. And the last book I have here is actually the February book of the month for Owlcrate. So if you haven't gotten your box yet and you don't want to be spoiled, I bid adieu to you because I'm sure you don't want to be spoiled for it. But if you don't mind being spoiled or you have gotten your Owlcrate box for February, please continue watching. And the book I'm talking about is The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. It has kind of like a fairy tale retelling vibe. Our main character's mom goes missing and it's up to her to find her, and the only note her mom has left her is like, don't go to the Hazelwood. So yeah, this is actually very interesting and I can't wait to read it. So those are all the books I have not read, so that's my entire TBR. And I'm a little astonished as to how many they were. I didn't think I'd have that many books that I needed to read, and now seeing them piled up on the bed is kind of making me scared. That is all I have for you guys today. Please let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of the books that I have not and what your thoughts were, but please no spoilers. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more of my face, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!